right, well, good evening. This is David Watkins, Senior Pastor of Creative Bethesda Missionary Baptist Church. I am here with my dear friend and colleague, Tasha Lynette Clompton, Cosmopolitan Community Church. She's the media director there. And welcome to my first episode of I've Got Questions. I've Got Questions.
Thank you.
Tasha, good evening. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you.
Great. Thank you for the gracious invitation to come and to play around on your board a little bit and see how this thing works.
I'm excited.
In what way?
It is fun to not be the interviewer.
I got you. Well, listen, here's my first question. We see all of these wonderful pictures of you and the New Edition crew. Tell me, how did you fall in love with New Edition?
I think New Edition represents nostalgia. So it takes me back to my humble beginnings in Inglewood, where my parents still reside, where my family, other extended family still live. And, you know, the songs are just golden. Like, who doesn't like New Edition except for my friend Jason, who I'm going to send this to and ask him what his problem is. But it represents nostalgia. It represents, you know, just a carefree, fun time in life. If you think back to a Candy Girl or Mr. Telephone Man, which is my ringtone. So when my phone rings, everybody knows that's Tasha's phone. You think about the fun experiences you had. New Edition was my first concert. Yeah. Auntie Wanda took us to see New Edition, Bobby Brown, and I'll Be Sure. And so they were, you know, they appeared to be like unattainable stars to us, right? And then there was the whole Bobby leaves, there are 4 of them, and then they return as these young adults. Now they're young adults, but I'm in the 7th grade. And so I recall getting ready for school, top of the school year, and hearing this particular song every day, always somehow missing the DJ announce what the song was and who it was by, because everybody thinks the name of this song is Sorry, but it's not. It's You're Not My Kind of Girl. And so this particular morning, I caught the DJ saying, and that was New Edition with You're Not My Kind of Girl. That was who? Who was it? Who? Because we're used to, in that space, right? The sound of a Candy Girl or Mr. Telephone Man. But this was a very, very different sound. So then it was like, okay, you're 7th grade, it's puberty. That kind of cute. That kind of, okay, fine. So then that happens, right? And then what was the next album? The Home Again album was the next, right, studio album. So that's the everybody has broken into their factions and returned. If you have to watch the movie to see what kind of disaster that became. I think you told me you hadn't seen the movie, and I'm not even sure why you're in my studio. But anyway, I'm kidding. And so I'm kidding.
I still got questions.
That's a good reason to still be here. And of course you're welcome. But now we're grown women. And we're looking at them a little bit differently. And I won't go into all of the ignorant conversations me and my girlfriends have had. But yeah, okay. And then we just realized, like, again, representing the nostalgia, we've been rocking with them as long as they've been out. So they just celebrated, oh boy, more than 40 years.
Has it been 40 years?
Yep. Wow. Because they are in their 50s. Yep, everybody's in their 50s. So yeah, more than 40 years entertaining us. Absolutely nostalgia. And so now, you know, you find yourself, I find myself in a different space where I'm able to navigate a little bit of entertainment, right? Like, I'm not an entertainer. I'm in media. I've had some opportunities to meet them. And they're the most down-to-earth 6 brothers ever.
That's what's up.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. You talk about New Edition being symbolic, if you will, of nostalgia and Inglewood. Tell me a little bit about Inglewood and those humble beginnings.
My mother's a West Sider. She will yell out West Side anytime you try to take her photo. She thinks she's Dr. Dre. Hey, boo boo.
Go mom.
Hey, boo boo. And so when she moved to the South Side, um, prior to meeting my dad, she landed in Inglewood. Our relative was there. She owned some property there, and my mother rented from her. Along comes Daddy, who she meets through her best friend's husband in Inglewood on the same street they would later buy a house on. Not the same block, but the same street. So 3 blocks from where they ended up buying a house, he meets Mama. Not super far from Aunt Ella, who I was speaking of. And when I was born, we were on 64th and May, where Aunt Ella's building was, and some more property. She had a bunch of properties on the block. That's where I started. And when they bought their home, they bought it on Hoyne, 3 blocks from where they met on Hoyne. So I've been there. Inglewood's a wonderful place. Like, it gets a lot of funky raps, but anything can happen anywhere, right? So there was community, there was love, there was care. Was there some foolishness? Yeah, of course. But that's in any neighborhood, Chicago neighborhood. And that's where I met some of my best friends, one of whom you know well. And we, later through some conversation, found out that we are relatives. So shout out to Shuby.
Hey, Shuby.
Whose mother allowed her to come across the street when she saw the new girl who was able to come out. So my parents bought that house when I was 3, so I wasn't like on the block. That's silly. But when I was able to come outside and she spotted me, because she's about a year older, at some point she asked my mother, can I go across the street and talk to her? And we've been talking for 40 plus years, long as New Edition. So, and that's my girl. And so, little kids don't pay attention to each other's last names. But we did this one particular day. And she was like, yeah, my name is such and such a Low. What? That's my mother's maiden name. Really? And so through some investigation, some conversation, some annoying our parents, we found out that our families are from the same area. It stands to reason that they are relatives. Ain't nobody done the tracing, but that's my cousin. That's my auntie. Yeah. That's my uncle. We are the Lows. Yeah.
That's what's up. So you have deep roots in Inglewood. Tell me a little bit about your grammar school and your elementary education.
So my mother was driving down the street. I like to hear her tell her stories, and I like to, share them. She was driving down the street, south on Damon, and she saw this school. She was like, Emmanuel Christian School. Interesting. And she kept driving by it. And then one day, she popped in. My mother was born and raised in church. If you knew my grandmother, born and raised in church every day. And she wanted that kind of foundation for me, right? Like, she didn't want me to go to Catholic school. No offense to my sisters and brothers who are Catholic, but we're not Catholic. So that wasn't the look she was going for. She was like, this is different. This is a Black school. Let me see. And so she popped in, asked some questions, and I was about to turn 4. And she may or may not have told them I was already 4. I might have turned 4 like the day of or the day after we started. I started preschool in Mrs. Rick's class, and I've met, when I say lifelong friends. I was at the homegoing service for a friend's mother yesterday. For a girl I met when I was 4. Like, she gets mad when she's like, would you stop putting these pictures on Facebook? I'm like, but we're cute though. We're cute little girls. Lifelong friends. And so one of your deacons was my PE teacher. He likes
to Deacon Milton Jones.
Right. He likes to say, oh, I used to tie her shoes. I don't know, Mr. Jones. I feel like I came in knowing how to tie my shoes. But, maybe you tied them for speed. Maybe it took me too long. But those relationships with not just the students, but the teachers. Now, Mr. Jones and I, we still hang. We still kick it, right? Like, before I even knew who you were, I think you came to preach for our I think it was our anniversary. It was one of our anniversaries, 97, something like that. When Cosmopolitan Community Church turned 97. You were our guest preacher. And I don't know how I found out Mr. Jones was. I I don't know that I knew he was at Greater Bethesda. I feel like he might have walked in, and I was like, "Hey, hey." The picture of him and my mom from that day just came up in my Google memories. Google is amazing. I'm a fan. Are y'all hiring? I'll come back to that. So with him or Miss Walker or God forbid, we've lost some teachers that stings because they've literally been our family. So it's a loving experience. I talked about it in a different setting. The relationships, the friendships. I just had a Friendsgiving, and two of those men who are now men that I've known since we were 4 were here. Like, we're not gonna ever stop rocking. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what's up. Elementary school, high school, you begin to develop these relationships with folks that are enduring, right? And I know you're a Limb Bloom Eagle, so you go from Emmanuel Christian to Limb Bloom Technical High School.
Yep.
Swoop, swoop.
Indeed.
Class of 94. Talk to me a little bit about Limb Bloom and the experiences there. Give me your nickname and what did you used to do? Were you extracurriculars and
you out of line with the nickname? So
how am I out of line?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm just whining a little bit. So first of all, our relationship comes full circle. You and I met because you reached out to my cousin, the Reverend Dr. Eric D. Clapton Sr.
What's up, Pastor?
And your question was about who's running his media. And he said, oh, my little cousin. And, I'll make sure to connect y'all. And we connected. What you couldn't have known is that when I was a junior in high school, the guy I was dating at the time, who is still a good friend, I'm really good with relationships, right? Was on the basketball team. And you know how it is when you in high school and you think you in love and you want to, spend all your time, even though he's supposed to be in practice and you need to go home. So I kept appearing at the practice, and your father, who was the coach, was like, ma'am, if you're going to be around here, do something. And he stuck a video camera in my hand.
Look at that.
So for that, to not even know, I knew he had children, but I'd never met you or your brother. I wasn't on my radar at all. To then circle back and end up working with you and your church and consulting on an ongoing basis, even some other opportunities you've connected me with. Mm-hmm. That's dope. And so my nickname in high school was Cisco. Y'all, I didn't drink, I promise.
Cisco.
I didn't, but the rumor was I acted silly enough to appear drunk. Mm. I don't need liquor. I'm crazy all by myself.
I think we share that in common.
So, and then later the nickname was Naughty, which is probably more accurate today than it was then. It was part of a social crew we had formed. I don't know how other high schools did it, but we did a lot of social cliques. It was like the high school versions of sororities and fraternities. And we didn't fit in, no shade to any of the other groups, but me and my girls, that wasn't our thing. We didn't fit in with, it was a lot of fighting and, a lot of sister and brother love, but it was too much chaos for us. We just wanted to hang out and dance.
Okay.
And so we started our own group. And we were the ladies. So you had like, I can't think of any of the other group names, but we were Sly, Seductive Ladies in Effect, which sounds hilarious as a 47-year-old. Man, when you 15, 16, that's dope. Yeah, and so our names, we had our personalized names, and it was very blank lady, and my name was Naughty. We're gonna jump past that.
I'm about to say.
Don't worry about that.
Okay.
Again, it's more applicable now. I have an interesting sense of humor, and I'll let y'all take that way you want. I'm not gonna say too much. Yeah.
Sounds like you said enough.
That was enough. See, you're smart. Smart brother.
It's all good. Okay. Well, listen, I know that time is already drawing closely. So we've gotten part one of I've Got Questions tonight. I don't want to necessarily circle back to you. You've made several comments about, yeah, we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that. Maybe we'll just talk about that offline. But
Maybe.
for tonight,
Maybe.
I want to say thank you. Thank you for allowing me to come. The amazing studio here that you have. My boys love it. It's an awesome place. So thank you.
Indeed. I appreciate you. Welcome to TLC Talk Radio.
Oh, I thought it was David Watkins Radio because I'm doing the interview.
But you're in the studios of TLC
okay.
Talk
That's
Radio.
fine.
I'm sorry.
All right. No, it's
You want me to edit that part out or no? I can cut it.
You're the media professional. It's all good. Thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Good night.
Good night.